It is January 3rd, 2026. Military jets tear through the night sky over Caracas, Venezuela. Down below, silent flashes of explosions light up the mountainside. The target of this massive, highly coordinated nighttime strike is the sitting president of Venezuela, Nicolás Maduro. But U.S. officials didn't classify this as an act of war. They labeled it a domestic police action, the routine execution of a federal arrest warrant by the DEA. If you want to see exactly how global superpowers manipulate the legal system to bypass the rules of conflict in plain sight, hit the subscribe button. Because a multi-billion-dollar military invasion just legally disguised itself as a simple drug bust, and we need to look at exactly how they pulled it off. The United States military called this Operation Absolute Resolve. The receipt for this supposed police action includes over 200 military flights and the deployment of an entire naval carrier strike group to the Caribbean. To guarantee control of the airspace, the military deployed F-22 Raptors, stealth fighter jets that cost taxpayers over $4 million to fly for just 2 days. This chart shows the scale. At the bottom is a standard federal police rate budget. At the top is the $4.7 billion bill for Operation Absolute Resolve, including $50 million in explosives alone. The operation even utilized experimental technology. President Trump told the press about a secret weapon called a discombobulator that jammed foreign-made defense systems, while eyewitnesses reported Venezuelan soldiers suffering injuries consistent with advanced sonic weaponry. The hardware, the billions in spending, and the destructive footprint on the ground all point to a full-scale military invasion. The police raid label was a deliberate legal choice. This is the 1945 UN Charter, the document that establishes the rule of sovereign equality. On paper, it means every nation has the exact same baseline legal protections against outside force. Under these rules, no state can forcibly enter another country's territory without explicit authorization from the UN Security Council or a valid claim of self-defense. This table from a legal analysis shows how the U.S. exploited a specific loophole. According to the sovereignty row, a nation's protections become conditional if external powers assign a nardo status to its leaders. By unsealing narcotics indictments right before the strike, the U.S. effectively stripped the Venezuelan government of its international standing. Moving down to the diplomatic immunity row, the legal shield that normally protects a sitting head of state is treated as secondary to U.S. federal criminal indictments. This turns a foreign president into a standard criminal defendant. But using this specific legal framing, the United States bypassed the UN Charter. They took a forcible regime change and successfully marketed it as a transnational drug bust. In Caracas, the political realities shifted overnight. Delcy Rodriguez was sworn in as acting president, and a new U.S. envoy arrived to push a transitional agenda. Concurrently, the new government began implementing legislative reforms specifically designed to court foreign corporate investment and open up state assets to privatization. These economic shifts trace back to the explicit motives voiced by U.S. leadership. President Trump publicly claimed that the socialist regime had stolen American oil platforms, framing the operation as a necessary move to take back American property. The rapid move from a manhunt to the seizure of state refineries suggests the capture of Maduro was the legal cover for a hostile corporate takeover. The United States continues to defend the absolute territorial integrity of its allies, strongly opposing any violation of sovereignty in places like Ukraine. Under these new rules, sovereignty is an absolute shield for allies, but a conditional privilege for resource-rich adversaries. This legal analysis outlines the ultimate takeaway. It notes that sovereign equality is becoming a legal fiction, a set of rules that only constrain weak nations, while the powerful simply choose to bypass them. I want to hear your take in the comments. Does international law actually exist as a binding set of rules, or is it just a rhetorical tool used by the powerful when it's convenient? A $4.7 billion military strike can now be legally fought as a police action, provided the target is branded a criminal before the first bomb falls.